Yo! So, this is what I did today and what I learnt today. So today was the first day that I got to wake up at 5 a.m. I was quite excited, so I actually woke up at around 4:20 a.m. And I just lay in bed for like 45 minutes with my dogs and just got to cuddle with them because a bit cold in the room because we have the aircon on. And it's just like, it was really nice to be able to just lie there and be comfortable with them and like be grateful that they're there, because sometimes you wake up, you get straight to it, they're cuddling with you, but when you're not like awake, you don't know that they're cuddling with you. Yana was already up and going for work at like 4, so maybe that's what disrupted my sleep a bit, but I was just excited to be awake. I'm just going to cut to a couple of things that I learned today. So I was sitting in a call we had today with my business mentor, who's kind of like Yana's business mentor as well by extension, and just like the level that those guys are speaking on, like just being able to see things, understand them, analyze them. Initially I was quite angry at myself because I was like, I don't know this much, I don't know what's going on, I can't do what they're doing, why am I even doing any kind of business mentoring, or like I'm kind of useless, right? I'm like the dumbest person in this room. But then I flipped it around and in my head was just like, no, you know what? These guys are able to help so much more because they know so much. So I'm just like excited. I was excited to be like, I get to be in the room with these guys. So I'm going to listen. I'm going to learn the things that they have to say and learn to apply it, understand why they do it so that I can apply that and help more people in future. And I'm also just very grateful and blessed to be able to be in the room, like a video call with my mentor in that sense, who's done this for years and years and is like just has the mind for it, which is really cool. But also obviously to be married to Yana, my wife, she's genius, and like she sent some stuff to one of her groups today, like a group that she is in. It's not like her group that she started on WhatsApp, and they were just being like, man, you're a genius, this is crazy. Even like her mentor, who's like part of that group, was like, this is genuinely so good. This is like years and years of knowledge consolidated into one page, like one document, and it's a very concise, simple format. It's just like a table on spreadsheets, but it just so completely encompasses like content and that kind of thing, how to make it and how to actually help as many people as possible and grow and use that to pivot if you want to with your messaging and that kind of thing. And it's like years and years of knowledge so made so simple. And Yana and I were talking about afterwards, she like doesn't like receiving praise in that sense. Well, she doesn't react too well to it, but she also just was like, oh, I feel like it's years and years of work and that, and like hundreds of different people's work that she's absorbed, understood, and like put that way. And she was just like, but I feel like there should be more. She's like, it's like that. It's not like she actually thinks there should be more, but it's like that weird feeling where you're like a bit insecure about what you've done. And we were just talking about the fact that that is the sign of a true genius, to be able to take such a crazy, complex topic and simplify it in a way that doesn't cut any corners. It doesn't miss details. It so wholly exemplifies something. And I guess the example that I told her, which she probably had already heard, or maybe had already heard by that stage, was just like thinking about Albert Einstein's whole life, and one of the things he's best known for is that E equals MC squared. Now, I don't know whether that's right or that, but I think it is, like from all the stuff that I've learned. And it's like one simple equation. That's not all he did, as far as I know. Name one more thing he did. But it's like all of that summarized, like just like years and years of physics research and just like understanding the world and science, to condense it into one formula, like, and that changed the game for a lot of things. So that's pretty cool, and like that's the mark of like someone that's really a genius, I believe, is to be able to simplify, and it shows a really quite an extraordinary depth of knowledge of the topic to be able to understand it so well, but be able to explain it to like a 4-year-old, that kind of thing, to anyone at any level. It's not the complexity which you need to show off, it's the ability to actually distill that knowledge. And I'd say that that's someone that truly has an understanding of the topic in a more useful way. you could argue. I mean, you could say that you need people to really, really understand it, but I mean, what good is the knowledge if it can't be distilled or used, if the knowledge can't be used and passed to others, you could argue. I mean, there's best place for that, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to what we were doing today. So I woke up, did that, sorted my calendar, and then I was doing stuff, had something to eat, and Yana and I went out for a run. We went to the South Perth foreshore, and we were walking. She had a video, like a conference call thing that she was still doing, like a mentoring group call for, like, she was being mentored, and there were a few of those ladies in there. So we just went for a walk whilst that was wrapping up. Her phone died partway through, like towards the end. It went for more than the hour that it was supposed to, but I think there was some good stuff going on. She had her headphones on. So I just went, walked with her, and then once that was done, so this is Yana's first day running, and she decided she wanted to ease into it, you know, like she wants to start running once a week. We do a few activities together, just like cardio for fun, like running, we do squash, gonna start swimming, and yeah. So we got to do that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so we ran, and she was going to do like 500 meters and then walk the rest, and then maybe do another 100 meters. But she actually ended up running the first kilometer, like pushed herself to really do that, which is really cool. Good pace too, I thought, pretty decent for someone who doesn't normally run, like 6 minutes for the kilometer. Wasn't really a slog, which is good. I had fun, and then we walked. And then we walked back to the car, and we ran like the last 100 meters or so to the car, just for a bit of fun. And then just went to the shops, got some stuff we needed to, and came home. And then I went and did a little training session. So like I've started to do 30, 45-minute training sessions. I think I said this in the last one, just to keep it real simple for myself. So I did that whilst I was actually eating a little bit, and I enjoy listening to podcasts. I just kind of go with whatever I feel like listening to. So listen to like a new Conor McGregor interview, listen to some Christian Guzman and Bradley Munn, which is really interesting to hear just how those guys perceive things and, you know, do all their content and that. And that was like I did like 7 sets during that workout, and then I was done. I've actually still got to do my arm stuff today. Hey, I almost forgot. So I'd better write that down. This is how I get a lot of stuff done. Set an alarm for 3 hours time for arm stuff. That's going to be too late. But yeah, that's how I get most of my stuff done, is I immediately set an alarm for that. And then I'll like snooze it until it's done, or reschedule it to a time that needs to. But most of the time I like don't really reschedule, because otherwise it just won't get done. So yeah, that was a bit random, and I write a lot of notes down just because, especially now that I'm in a deficit, sometimes I forget stuff. So I'll write down like that. I just write my notes in a little checklist as and when the stuff comes up. So that's like my little to-do list there, which is fun. I enjoy it. So trained, then we had that call with our mentor, realized those things, learned some stuff, and like get to see the direction we get to go in now. So it's pretty exciting because I get to do some what are called prospect interviews, which is like sitting and chatting to people that I potentially want to work with, and just finding out more about them, like what really makes them tick, how they think, what they value, which is really cool for me, because it's basically like learning how I can better help people, which is very exciting, and I get to do it in a style that I like, which is a lot of conversation. Obviously a lot of my content that I make is very conversationally and talkative, just because I love chatting, love being in front of camera and being in front of people, gives me energy, and it really excites me, fires me up. So yeah, not necessarily the best orator, but I feel that I'm improving the more that I do this, and I fidget a lot as well, as you can see. Oh yeah, so after the call I was supposed to go to jiu-jitsu today, but the owner of the house that we are renting currently, intentionally renting, because we actually have a house that we built, but we rent that out and we rent this house. That's a whole nother thing in and of itself, which I'll probably go into in another video, why we do that. He came over and he was doing some repairs and that, so Yana wanted me to wait here, and I was like, you know what? That's fine. Like, I should do that. I should wait and make sure my princess is safe, feels good, feels safe, and just like, it wasn't really too much safe, but like she could just focus on her work then, whilst Mike was there, because then he didn't have to like interact with her, and I could ask the questions and that kind of thing, you know. She asked, it was like that kind of, oh, can you wait till he's gone? And I was like, yep. And I like, it's an interesting thing we were talking about a few nights ago, where it's like there's a certain way that when like you're with someone for quite a while, you get to understand their language and what they really mean. And obviously she's striving to be more direct, but being a woman, like, it is what it is. I do similar things as a man as well, but sometimes you're not always direct, so you learn to understand what people mean, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think it's good. It gives you like a deeper understanding of someone. So when they ask, like, oh, can you do this? And then a few seconds later, be like, oh, no, actually, it's okay. I know that means she wants me to wait. So I did, and I really enjoyed that. I was actually taking a couple of, like, I took like a 10-minute nap with my feet up on her office floor whilst I was waiting for Mike to be done, and whilst I was potentially going to go to jiu-jitsu because I was tired. And man, that gave me so much energy afterwards. I heard about that from Jocko, and I was like, I haven't had any caffeine these past few days, this past week. Just been loving life. I was a bit tired by the video call, but that happens when I sit down for a long time and like listen to people speaking and like look at a video, which is what was happening with my mentor's call. Just like that kind of like that lecture, as it were, setting makes me quite sleepy. Even if I'm super interested in the topic, like at church and that, I fall asleep or like get really sleepy, so I have to get up and move around a bit. So that's what I do. I actually did fall asleep for like 2 seconds, I think. Whilst I was listening, I was really interested in what was being said. I just, because I felt Yana look over at me. Maybe I did it twice. But yeah, so that was good. And then we actually went to sign up to a new gym because I didn't go to jiu-jitsu. So we got a chance to go do that. Yana was going to go sign up with Vincent, her brother, my brother-in-law. But he was sleeping and said he didn't want to go now, he wanted to go later. So we decided that she and I would just go. We went and signed up to Raw Fitness in Bibra Lake. That's such like a Perth geography that it's like, why would that? I don't know. That's very specific. But yeah, we went there, and because Yana wanted to try out the ice, they have like an ice thing, you know, like the ice bath, but there's no ice in it. It's like just really cold. And that was the main thing she wanted to try, and potentially train, because she was feeling a bit like overwhelmed. So she wanted to start with the ice stuff, have that like neurological reset, or not reset, but like revamp kind of thing. I can't remember the exact term she used. So we went and did that. And that was fun. And kind of like she just jumped in and did it for like 5 minutes straight out the gate, because she had heard from someone that no one, like one of the people in like her video thing group was like, oh yeah, some of the guys, and like some did 3 minutes, and like nobody went past 5 minutes. So Yana was like, I'm gonna do 5 minutes, or like she did 5 minutes 15 seconds and froze herself. That was fun. I jumped in, and then she asked me to get her phone or something, so I jumped out and then got the phone, and then I went in for a little bit. And this is another thing I learned today, I guess. It's like reaffirmed. I can kind of see why people use stuff like the ice and the cold to do that. But then when I went to get back in, it like really hurt. So then after like 30 seconds, I got out again, and then I kind of dipped my feet back in whilst I was like doing some of the filming. But then I was like, oh, you know, I know that I have to push through that point where it really hurts. It like burns. It feels like you're getting stabbed in the legs a little bit, because I guess that's how the cold is. So I was like, okay, just jump back in. I was very eager. Jump back in. I want to embrace that, because I know that once you push to a certain point, or I assumed it was so, once it's like when you're running or doing cardio and pushing yourself, once you push that point where you're like, I want to get out, I can't do this anymore. When you push through that, there's like there's a point where it's just fine. It just is what it is. Like when you're exhausted, you feel like you're gonna die. Like when you're going for a run or something, when you push through that point, like you take that 30 seconds, even it can just be 5 seconds. It's like not stop, and then it's like when you run and you start to get tired, you stop. And then you run and you hit that wall every time. Whereas if you push through that, you break through and you can just keep going and going and going. So I did that, and then was in there for, I don't know, a couple minutes. And then we went to the spa, actually, which is the spa? The hot tub, which was right next to it, because we decided to do some hot cold therapy, or just try that recovery stuff, which is pretty fun because I've never done it before. I'm not a massive fan of the cold. But I was like, opportunities here, Yana wants to do it together, and I love a challenge. So we did that. The first, I didn't remember the time amount, so we went like 5 minutes in that thing, in the cold, and then, because it's normally like a 1 to 3 or 4 ratio, so like 4 hot, 1 cold. So then we did like 15 minutes in the hot tub, and then went back to the, I forget the name, jacuzzi or something like that. And then we went 1 minute in the thing, in the cold, and then went back and did like 4 minutes in the hot, and then back and forth. We did like 4 rounds, I think, and then tried out the steam room and sauna for like 2 minutes a piece that they had there. So that was really fun. We didn't train. Yana wasn't really feeling it. She just had a lot going on with some of the stuff we talked about with her mentor. She's doing a lot at the moment. And I've said to her before, like, it's getting to that point where she probably needs an assistant. And yeah, so yeah, she kind of said, yeah, maybe I need an assistant now. Because she's running like, how many companies? She's running a few businesses and like starting up some new ones and helping me with mine. And like, she's really running TKP and like my side of things. And like, she just tells me what to do. I'm like the COO. That's the dynamic we've had for quite a while. She's like, here's what we're going to do. Because she's more like the CEO, got that visionary strength. And I have a degree of it, but not nearly the same. My strength is more so doing a lot of the stuff, as is hers. So it's not like I have no vision and she has no ability to do stuff, but it's like we play to our strengths within that. So there's a lot of da-da-da-da-da. And I mean, even with the other businesses, like I help and I contribute where it makes sense for me to. So yeah, she's got a lot going on, needs an assistant maybe. She did say that, and then we chatted about some stuff that was stressing her out. Just about moves with the business. So she's going to step in a bit more with the TKP stuff. We're consolidating that with our mentor. But that should be pretty exciting because it's kind of like right now she's doing stuff anyway. So she wants to step in with my stuff and like do a bit more in TKP, like my coaching and business that allows me to focus a bit more on the sales side of things, generate more income from that. But then that also really helps to strengthen where we're at, because our next goal is getting more clients on so that we can hire more coaches, start building a team, and then have the coaches coach majority of the clients, and I have a few one-on-ones. But by doing that, we're really just going to be able to do more of what we want to do, which is more owning the company and not running as much within it, but having a really high standard as well. So we're very excited to be doing that. We've known that we were going to do that for a little while, got delayed here and there because of life. My brother came over and that kind of thing, it is what it is. And now we're really doing that push. So it's grind season. So I'm very excited for that. But yeah, we chatted about that, and I'm so grateful that she feels comfortable enough and safe enough with me to be able to express where things are at. That's a lot of work that she's done on her part, and I know I've done some things on my part to allow a safe space, and be able to switch between whatever we need to by life, like obviously we're married, and business stuff. That's something that we continue to work on, and I already think we're actually quite good at. But you can always get better at things. So yeah, we did that, chatted about that, and we'll just go home. I had a couple calls on straight after we left, 2:45, 3 o'clock. The thing that I learned with the ice bar stuff was just it's really fun. I I kind of revel in that getting to what you perceive to be your limit and then pushing through. It's like you become new and like you're reminded every time, like, oh yeah, I can do this. So I love doing that with like my cardio stuff, like any kind of training, being like, oh, I think this is my limit, and then you push. And that's something you really only get from like cardio or like endurance type things, and stuff like this, like the cold and that kind of thing. So it's just very exciting. So we signed up to a new gym. That was fun. And it was just nice to, like, you can't really focus on anything else whilst you're doing, like, all that matters in that moment is overcoming and being better. So it's really, it's like it physically just forces you to take your mind off of anything else. So in a way, it's kind of like a form of meditation, some could argue, because all that matters in that moment is the task at hand or pushing through and getting better. So I love that. Yeah, it's really fun. I'm not saying I'm not necessarily that good at it, but it's fun. Yeah, and it's like a challenge every time to, become better, not cheat yourself out of an extra 2 seconds in the thing. Like push yourself, be like, I'll stay an extra 10 seconds in here, in the cold, getting frozen. So yeah, and then so much. We came back here. My call that I was supposed to have at 2:45, he had a last minute meeting pop up. So like I called him and he just didn't pick up, and then he texted me like 5 minutes later. So I was like, cool. Yana and I used the opportunity to go get some bubble tea, came back, and then I had a call with a potential new client who I'd kind of like had messaged a few people about, hey, I've got this special offer going on. Do you know anyone who might be interested? And this guy came back to me, one of my clients or past clients. He kind of like was about to start, but then some stuff happened and I was like, that's completely fine, man. I'm not going to force you to do this if it doesn't work for you. Like, that's cool. And so as a result, he like kind of has referred this guy to me like almost a year ago. I think I was about to work with this guy, or like 6, 7, 8 months ago. Anyway, so we referred a couple guys and I chatted to one of them today. Had a really good chat. Didn't sign him up on the offer that I was originally talking about, just because it didn't make sense for him. Maybe this is a fault of mine, but when people come up with the financial objection, I dig a bit, I isolate, do a bit of that, but I'm also very okay with like them saying no if it's a financial objection, if it really is. So I try to, go through the smoke screen with their permission, and get to the cause of it. And for him, to me, it seemed like it was genuinely a financial objection to like signing up to that one, because it's like $200 a week, my one-on-one online coaching at the moment, $192.50, which I'm always very open about. I'm just open about that kind of thing. And that's for like one-on-one. That's like a lot of my time there. So what we've done instead is a $50 per week one, which is basically you get all of the other stuff, nutrition, training, accountability, and that, just not the one-on-one with me side of things, besides like being able to message me directly in WhatsApp and that kind of thing. And I think that's a really strong thing that we have with our offers, because it actually doesn't take up a lot of time for me, but it gives the client massive benefit. And I wouldn't suggest it to anyone if I didn't think it made sense. Like for some people, it just like, I'm like, okay, if that doesn't work for you and you can't make that work, we got payment plan options and that kind of thing for this offer. But if it's a no, then a no is perfectly fine as well. Like, it's not sales at any cost. It's like whatever's right for that person is the priority. Maybe I'll go through my sales process, because by no means is it perfect, but I'm always working on it. I think it's pretty solid and works pretty decently well. And there's a lot of reasoning in human psychology that I like to utilize within it, but always open to improving. Anyway, so we did that, signed him up. That was really fun. I just like feel so energized and love doing that. Always excited to work with someone new that's like a good fit, and he's a cool guy. So that should be really fun. He's got some big goals, some cool goals, like, and he's got a good head on him. He's 20 years old, but he's like real switched on with that side of things, willing to invest in himself, and like very mature with a lot of his responses, I think, or very responsible, I think, which is always cool to be around. So yeah, and then I was managing some of these guys, like Vincent got some speeding fines and that, so we're taking the points and paying the fines, but as a result, like the agreement was he cleans the house fortnightly and cleans our car fortnightly. So I've just been getting on him a bit for that, because there's some stuff that he doesn't do and doesn't quite do it to the standard that is expected. So I decided I'll step in and do more of a managed thing instead of just being, it's not good enough. I'll take responsibility for this stuff and then make sure it's being done to a good standard. And for me, I'm kind of like, it does help, I think, show them potentially how to manage cleaning and that kind of thing, and like manage and maintain and raise a certain standard, because they eventually they started the cleaning company with us, and they're doing the cleaning right now, but they're looking to step eventually up into managing and then into more of an executive role, which, I mean, managing is kind of executive, but executive and then ownership role. Not that they don't have ownership now, they have part ownership, but like director and majority ownership of the company is with Yana and I. Actually, technically, Yana's the director for that. So that was cool. And that's a big company already. Like, a lot of profit on that straight out the gate, which is cool. And it like really shows that Yana knows what she's doing. And I do what I do within that. But it's a cool opportunity for them to see how to manage. And by no means am I the best manager in the world, but try my best and hopefully give those boys a good example. They're quite young, 16 and 17, but dropped out of high school, going to TAFE kind of, and just starting up their own business, pursuing what they want. They're pretty smart, switched on kids. That's something else I talked to Jan about today. Tomorrow at the meeting, we have a meeting at 8 a.m. every morning pretty much. Going to talk to them about like the company's going to pay for them to do some martial arts stuff. It's not tax deductible, but we'll be doing that like once or twice a week, just because I think it's really good for their character as well as their fitness and like the mental and psychological side of things. So I'm very excited to talk to them about that tomorrow. Hopefully I haven't been too harsh on them today. I'm a bit hard on Vincent in particular sometimes, but I love him. He knows that because I say it, and then he always says no or just ignores me. So yeah, and then I've just been making some content. I decided to do 4 pieces of content a day, so like 4 quality pieces as part of that challenge that Yana and I are doing, which is 100 pieces of content in 30 days. But I figured there are 4 main platforms that I have and I can post to, and so that's what I'm doing. So YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So yeah, I've done the Instagram and TikTok, doing the YouTube now, and then I'll be posting one to Facebook, gonna write something out, and then we're gonna go out for some dinner and probably more bubble tea. And I'm just so grateful to be able to learn and share with, I don't know, whoever watches. I think the last video got 6 views, so I'm genuinely like, wow, why would anyone want to watch this? Even like a second of it. So yeah, I just think this is cool. I love being able to share this and document and like just talk about the things that I've learned. I have that gratitude and be able to share part of the journey, because I know that Yana and I are going to go really far in life and do some big things. So it's cool to be like, I mean, technically we're millionaires already right now, and we've documented a little bit in the past, but now being more intentional with documenting from here up and up and up. We're planning to go past the trillionaire status and that, but not just for the sake of status and money. It's just because of the impact that we want to have on the world. Like, the money just comes with that. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic in and of itself. Very exciting times. I'm just going to upload this straight to YouTube. I don't think I have to edit anything. Yeah, thanks for watching, and catch you guys on the flippity flip.